first, let us talk about the do's. In the do's, I would say that I have personally felt that the students in our country, they're lacking guidance. They are basically lacking guidance. I would say 90% of the students lack guidance, because whomsoever I have met, whatever lectures I have given, whatever gatherings I have addressed, the student gatherings basically, I have always felt that students are basically, they just don't have idea. In India, we have preconceived notions about certain professions, and wherein the parents say that doctor, lawyer, engineer. So these are the three pack professions that the parents have been talking about, then parents have been teaching. And see, it's not mistake of the parents also, because parents, whatever they learned, whatever the exposure they have, they try to give it to their children, right? But again, I believe that, like, if I am in the civil services, it is my duty to guide whosoever approaches me and whosoever is willing to do this or pursue this civil services as his or her own career. So the very first to do, I think, is do the research work, which I never did at my 10+2 turning point, which we had discussed in detail earlier. So I think the very important point is that do your research work, do the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is basically strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Like if I take up civil services, what are the opportunities I will get? What are the obstacles or the challenges that are involved? So I think this is very important. Do the cost benefit analysis. You first of all decide upon the subject and the place that you want to study. Do you have adequate finances? Or if the finances, because see, if you go to Rajendra Nagar, or if you go out of your city basically to stay at some other place, the rental expenditure will be there, the tuition fees will be there. So these expenditures will have to be catered for, right? So you need to be sure, like if you want to take up civil services and if you are planning to study outside your city, then these things have to be taken care of. So the planning has to be made. Then after that, then the subject that you want to take, the coaching institute, if you're planning to join one. So which coaching institute you're planning to join. And once these basics are ready, then you have to decide whether you have that much stamina to run this race. This is a long race. It is not a short distance 100-meter sprint. It is a marathon. Now for this marathon, you need a lot of training. Marathons cannot be run in one single day. For marathons, you need training. And what is this training? This training is a mental training. The mental training that you require is nothing but the determination. Just make yourself very strong. Few days back, I was just discussing with few of my friends here in Colombia. Few Indian friends who want to pursue civil services after Colombia. No, that's amazing. I really liked it. And, I told them that, we just happened to had a discussion about this. And they also asked me this question, that like the determination that I just talked about, that how do you keep yourself so determined throughout this entire journey? Because it's a 1 year long procedure, 1 year long examination. It is not that you just give one exam, after 2 months you get the result. No. And moreover, if you give prelims, if you give mains, and if you falter in mains, then again you have to give prelims. You're back to ground zero. It is not that you will get some credit for your prelim clearance or mains clearance, in the previous attempt. So there's nothing like that. So when we talk about determination, how do you keep yourself motivated? When I had this discussion at Columbia here, I just told them, and I was just reminded about, my strategies, and very well, I can share my strategies, how I used to keep myself motivated throughout this entire journey. So for this determination and motivation throughout, you just need to create certain things in your mind. Our mind is a very big creator. What you think, you become basically, right? And what you tell your mind basically happens. And, I always used to tell my mind that, whenever I used to feel very low, whenever I used to feel that, dejected, or whenever I used to score very low marks in any of the, test series that I had joined there during the preparation times. So during those difficult times, during those low moments, during the times when I used to feel that, no, all my friends are, enjoying their life, they're moving the world, they're roaming around in the world abroad, and they're having a very good time. I am myself, sitting in this one small room, just doing nothing, studying all the time, with no results in sight. Because see, in civil services, you will not get the results immediately. The results you will get to see after 1 year only. It is not that you will get the results immediately, but it is all about telling yourself that you have to remain determined. Now, in all those difficult times and all these low times, I just used to tell myself, I had created this story for myself. I'm just sharing with you that how will my parents feel if I will get selected and my name appears in the merit list. The expression on the face of my parents, I just used to imagine. This imagination, used to give me so much strength. I just can't explain. I'm speaking right now. I'm feeling those goosebumps in my body right now because this is such a strong feeling and this is such a strong emotion with which I was attached to. If my name appears in the merit list and if my parents see my name in the merit list, how would they feel? Simply, I just used to ask this question to me in all those low times. See, this is a story, an emotion created by me. It is not existing, but it is created by me in my mind for myself. Likewise, you can create any of your emotion. How would you feel, or what will you do, or any aspiration that you have, that if this then that, if this then that theory is there, IFTTT. So you can create your own stories and your own motivational objectives, anything with which you feel motivated. So I think this thing is very important, and if you're able to do this, you will be able to succeed and you will be able to hold back in this entire journey, because this journey is like a wave. One day you will feel on the top of the world, and the other day you will be like shattered, doomed, and you'll feel that as if I just need to stop over this journey and I just need to stop all of this and I just need to get back to my corporate job and fancy job, fancy offices. I just need to get back there. I can't do this civil services. But again, it is your purpose, and most important thing, the sacredness of your goal. The more sacred your goal is, I had made my goal very, very sacred. The more sacred your goal is, the more attached you will remain to your purpose. I always used to think and tell myself that civil services is something that I want to do. And all during my low times, bad times, I always used to think that, if I'm not performing or if I'm not able to, finish my schedule during the day, whatever schedule I've set for myself, if I'm not able to complete it, let's say I had to finish 4 chapters during a day. And if I'm not able to finish my 4 chapters despite my complete hard work, can you imagine? I literally used to try and weep. That was so foolish on my part. Again, I would say that was very foolish on my part. But again, why I used to cry? I used to cry because my goal of civil services was so sacred for me. It used to be like my religion, just like you pray God. It used to be so sacred. And if you're not able to fulfill that, I used to feel that if I'm not able to complete my task, I will not be a civil servant. And slowly and steadily, every single day, it piles up. And these are very small successes. That is why I, like in the initial introduction when you mentioned, and I really live by that motto. Small micro wins basically leads to staggering results. My favorite author, Robin Sharma, talks about it in all his books. I have read all his books, and everywhere he talks about it. Don't focus on your final goal all the time. Focus on these small micro wins. These micro wins will take you to that goal, and that is very, very important. So I think the do's part that we had just talked about, I think this is very important, and overall this gets covered here. So this is what all the aspirants need to take care of and need to be very thorough with what they want to do in their life. Now coming on to the don'ts, I would say what not to read is very important. What not to study is very important. Civil services is like a big universe, big galaxy. And in this entire galaxy, you can't study everything. So you need to be very clear, and especially in the subjects that you're studying. And general studies, definitely you have to study everything. But again, in the subjects that you're studying, you need to be clear with the previous year papers. Go through the previous year papers, see what has been the pattern, what all kinds of questions have been asked, what is the focus of the examiner, what kind of questions they are asking, and how they are asking, how are they framing, what kind of analysis do they want, and what kind of qualities that they want from you. Are they only focusing on the concepts, or are they actually wanting you to write something about the practical applications also? Like for in the subject of, I'll give you an example of public administration. Like in public administration paper 2, in paper 2 what they ask is they'll just ask you general questions about Indian scenario, let's say Indian political scenario. The Indian political scenario, let's say you take an example of Panchayati Raj. Now in Panchayati Raj, you can always start with your foundational concepts of thinkers. Start with the thinkers, start with their theories, what they have talked about, and then you come on to their practical applications in the Indian scenario. How this Panchayati Raj came up, and how is this beneficial for the society? So likewise in sociology, I always used to, when I gave one lecture at Wajiram, in fact, and people were laughing at that time when I told them, the best strategy to write answers is to prepare a good khichdi. And why do I call it khichdi? Khichdi is like a masala khichdi. The more masala you put in, and the tastier it becomes. And what is this khichdi all about? This khichdi is a mixture of the thinkers. Start with the thinkers, start with their theories, start with their conceptual foundations. Start with that, then you come on to the Indian scenario. You talk about the field formations, we talk about the field applications, the practical applications of those theories, and then you give real life examples, the case studies, the diagrams. So when you prepare your answer in this manner, then can you imagine the person who is reading your answer? Are you giving him any reason not to be impressed? When you write all of this, are you giving him any reason not to be impressed? He'll be flattered over your answer. So that's how you secure marks. That's how you make your answers more impressive. So, that is why I'm saying that it's very important what not to read. Focus and concentrate what is more required, and that concentration and that focus will come more when you study the patterns of the exam. When you study the previous 10-year papers, you study the questions. You study the relevant books, the relevant things. In general knowledge also, don't go for everything. Focus on certain newspapers, the Hindu, any particular 1 or 2 magazines, that's it. Focus on that and gulp it. Just gulp it. And not only gulp it, when you read the newspaper articles, especially the editorials, the Hindu editorials, and Hindu was like a Bible for us, and it will remain a Bible for the civil services aspirants. And when you read the Hindu, in Hindu, when you read the article, just don't read the article. Like if anything is written on climate change, I'll give you a very nice example. Recently, COP27 has just got over. We had this Bali declaration just this month, November month, 2022. So when you read all of this and when you see that we have a fight between global north and global south, okay, the fight is happening. Okay, there are certain emission targets which these countries are not able to meet. Then they have a focus on alternative fuels. And what do you think? If you are a student of sociology, what will you think? The very first thing that should come to your mind is Karl Marx. Now read these articles. I study COP27 from the perspective of Karl Marx. What did Karl Marx say? Karl Marx talked about haves and have-nots. What are haves and have-nots? It's global north and global south. Global north are the rich people who are dictating the terms in this world. What is global south? Global south are the developing nations basically who are in need of money, who need finances to invest in the alternative fuels. So when you read and study the articles from these perspectives, you will automatically start making answers. Now, when in the civil services mains exam, let's say in general studies, if this question is asked on climate change, now can't you include, or let's say a question is asked in the paper of sociology, let's say sociology subject, and they ask you the theories of Karl Marx, let's say conflict theory. Okay, you write about conflict theory. Then what if you include climate change, COP27, Bali Declaration as well in your answer? And you make a nice analysis there and you prepare a nice khichdi. Are you giving any reason to the examiner not to be impressed? That's how you do it. And that makes the most impact. And see, I am giving you the example only from the subjects that I have studied, like public administration and sociology were my subjects. Likewise, you may happen to meet various other successful candidates who have had, different other subjects. And accordingly, you basically get the idea. Like I'm just trying to give you an idea, like what exactly is to be done and how it is to be done. And rest is the smart work. The smarter you get, the higher you score. That's about it.